Today, we'll be answering the question as to whether programming is worth it in 2024. For the past year or so, we've been hearing the stories about these massive layoffs in these big tech companies, and we've been reading articles just talking about whether the honeymoon period about programming is over or not. And that is what we hope to address in this particular video as to whether you learning programming in the programming today in the current day and age is worth it or not. So let's get to the meat of the issue. Uh, there's certain key reasons as to I still think that programming is a very essential skill for you to learn even in 2024 because one aspect, if you talk about the job driven economy, is that it there's cycles around it, and a lot of these companies in the during the COVID era overhired uh, people because of the increased demand on these digital platforms, and it was just a correction of market that a lot of these layoffs that we see today are basically representing. But other than that, why should we learn programming in 2024? Let's get down to it. We need to remember there's a high demand for software developers. And because the technology sector is only going to keep on booming and keep on going up, demand for skilled developers would always remain high. Web development, cloud computing, AI, all of this is increasingly creating high demand for people and companies that need good programmers to solve their problems. Companies are also looking to automate their processes. At the same time, cybersecurity is becoming a major issue, and we need programmers there as well to work on those particular problems. So the tech space still has enormous demand, and which means that every year a lot of programmers would be hired. So the issue right now is not the question of whether you'll be able to find a job, but rather the question of whether you're able to position yourself in the programming field in such a way that you're able to get a lot of these new jobs that are popping up in programming. That's the only difference right now. First, it was just basic programming, and you were good, and they would train you on the job. But now you need to specialize, or you need to focus your ability into certain fields when you're learning programming. So that is basically the only difference that we have in the current marketplace. But the demand is probably even higher than what it was before. All right. So with that out of the way, the second reason we might think that I think that programming is going to be is something that you should definitely learn is, again, as mentioned above, there are countless career opportunities in new emerging fields. So we have new fields in programming emerging that require a lot of people to come and work for. So for these new opportunities like AI, like like AI, like crypto, like blockchain, like Internet of Things, all of these required specialist programming skills, right? So, as I mentioned above, you need to specialize, right? High demand, and after that, you need to specialize. So, new opportunities are emerging in new fields, and for these fields to for you to find jobs, you need to specialize appropriately after learning to program, and that is basically going to make sure that you find a job. So, new fields are emerging that require a lot of people to work in them. It's just not generalized fields anymore. So I mean, job demand is still high, but the issue is, are you equipped enough to work in that particular field? Another aspect to this, another reason I think why you should learn programming is that unlike before, where you had to go into offices, to work, programming gives you the opportunity to work remotely because you can work because you can do your work whether in the office or at your at home on your computer. It gives a lot more flexibility to individuals uh, you know when working, unlike if you have to go to your office. And this particular is probably one of the most game-changing aspects of the current day age and current day and age of work is that you can work remotely. There are remote opportunities, there are hybrid opportunities, so on and so forth. So basically, it's essential for you understand that these opportunities are fairly limited even right now, even within the programming industry, but they're increasing based on because the bargaining power of people in the programming industry is always increasing, which means the companies realize that if they don't offer or hybrid opportunities, people might not be willing to work for them, and that there's always a shortage of programmers, good programmers in the market, unlike any other field right now. Other than that, you should also understand that all major all major innovation in the current day and age is within the within the computing space, right? Everything in innovation and everything you see is linked to computing in some way, manner, or form. So every major innovation is linked to computing. And what are the major innovations within computing itself, which are probably the new fields you need to become good at if you want to find work in computer science? These fields are automation and AI, right? So those are for both of these fields, we need to remember that more and more businesses are adopting both AI and automation, and that is why programmers are needed to build, maintain, and optimize these systems. Especially, you need to develop knowledge of programming languages like Python and JavaScript or specialized frameworks for AI so that it can give you a competitive edge in a very, very demand-hungry economy for these developers. Other than that, there is another aspect to it. You don't need to work for any company. You can look for freelance opportunities. There are hundreds of freelance opportunities for programmers, and especially for those who are willing to look for them. And it means that you're not beholden to anyone. You can work anywhere, anytime, however you want. That is the strength of a freelance work, and that is only possible in the current day and age to a large degree by becoming a good programmer. Another aspect we need to remember is that, as I mentioned, job demand is always high for programmers. There was a fall because that was the market correcting itself because Google and these big companies had overhired their workforce at that time during the COVID era because of the high demand. But now the market correcting itself and moved back to the natural market. But the natural market for job market for employment is always growing at high rate for it's always growing at a high rate for programming industry. So you have this market is going to there's going to be a consistent output of income, which will basically mean and only would as a programmer you'd always find jobs for yourself to do. At the same time, your salary would also grow because the supply won't be increasing as much as the demand for programmers is increasing in the market. With that, we're going to wrap this video up and we'll see you in our next video. Thank you.